As the technology is evolving towards the digital era, testing a software or an application is becoming a necessity rather than a requirement. So hi guys, this is Vaishnavi from Edureka, and today we're going to be discussing about one of the latest trends in the market, that is Selenium. So this video will mainly focus on helping you guys understand what exactly is Selenium. But before we get any further with this session, let's take a look at the agenda. So firstly, we'll start off with talking about the history behind the growth of Selenium, and also we'll take a look at what exactly is Selenium, its definition, its features and components, and finally we'll wrap up this session by taking a look at a simple demo. As you all know, Selenium is an open source tool which is used for automating the tests carried out on different web browsers. But what do you think is the history behind it? What do you think are the major reasons that affected the growth of Selenium? Let's have a look, guys. So, this Selenium was originally developed by Jason Huggins in the year 2004 as an internal tool while he was working at ThoughtWorks. So, Huggins later joined the programmers or the testers at ThoughtWorks and tried to develop Selenium RC. So, this tool was developed in the year 2004 by two developers, namely Jason Huggins and Paul Hammond. So it was open sourced in the same year, guys. So Selenium RC was the first one to be found among the WebDriver, Grid, and Selenium IDE. In 2005, Dan Fabulich and Nelson Sproul made an offer to accept the series of patches that would transform Selenium RC into what it is known for today. So in these days, we call it a Selenium WebDriver, right? So Dan Fabulich and Nelson Sproul are the major reason for giving us the idea about how RC works. Now, correspondingly, in the year 2007, Huggins joined Google, and also he helped in developing the stabilization process of RC. And at the same time, Simon Stewart at ThoughtWorks developed a superior browser automation tool called the WebDriver. Okay, so this is the tool which we currently use. And also, the current version of Selenium that we're using is 3. But recently in 2009, September or October, I think they had a meeting or a conference related to the version release, and they actually kind of spoke about the new version, that is Selenium 4. I don't think it is releasing anytime soon, but yeah, they gave us a hint of that. So yeah, we'll be looking forward to work on Selenium 4 as well. So the current version in the market is Selenium 3. Also, in the year 2009, there was a conference, that is a test automation conference, where people tried to merge two products, that is Selenium RC and Selenium WebDriver, to call it as a new project called Selenium 2.0. So this is the second version which was used between 2005 to 2010, I believe. Don't remember the exact time span, but yeah, Selenium 2 was released by then. And in 2008, Selenium Grid was developed by Pat Lightbody. So this was about the history behind the growth of Selenium. As you can see that the growth began in 2004 itself, but to be officially released and to be officially available to people by the name Selenium WebDriver, it took close to 5 to 6 years, right? So this is exactly how Selenium came into the mainframe. Now moving ahead, let's take a look at what exactly is Selenium. Like I mentioned, Selenium is an open source tool which is used for automating the tests that are carried out on the web browsers. Also, it can be reframed in this way. It is an open source portable framework for automating applications, that is mainly web-based applications, and it can be tested across different browsers, namely Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and just not the traditional ones. The tests can also be carried out in different OS platforms, that is Windows, Mac, and Linux. And the Selenium test scripts can be integrated with the tools such as TestNG, JUnit, and so on for managing test cases and generating reports. It can also be integrated with Maven, Jenkins, and Docker to achieve continuous testing. So why exactly software testing or automation testing is required? Today's world of technology is completely dominated by machines, and their behavior is controlled by the software empowering it. Will the machines behave exactly as we want them to? The answer to this is what we call software testing or automation testing. At the end of the day, it is the application's success rate which is going to control your business growth. The same thing can be said even for web applications because most of our businesses today are completely dominated on the internet, or it completely belongs to the internet. So, this is exactly what is Selenium. Now, moving on, let's take a look at why exactly Selenium is required. Why not any other tool? So, some major uses, I would say, or benefits of using Selenium is it is easy to automate testing across web applications. Suppose you're working on or testing any of the software application, that is web-based application, I say, and you find a bug and you don't know how to resolve it until and unless you've come across Selenium. So Selenium is one such tool which acts like a key to our success rate. So automating testing across web applications is like a really tedious task which can be fulfilled by using Selenium. And also it has a wide variety of language support. If you're comfortable using C, C++, or C Sharp, these are considered as the basic languages, right? Okay, not C Sharp, but still C, C++, Java, Python, right? So these four languages are like the basic languages which can be supported by any of the software. So apart from these four standard languages, Selenium also proudly supports Ruby, C Sharp, Spark, Perl, and many more. All right. Now, talking about implementing the test cases, like I mentioned, automating the testing cases across different web applications or browser is not an easy task. But by using Selenium, you can implement those test cases very easily. And also, you can perform or write the test scripts on different platforms like Mac, Windows, Linux, and so on. Also, one major reason why you should go for Selenium is it is easy to understand and is open source. Open source, as in you don't have to pay for this version, it is not a paid version. Easy to understand, as in it is explained in simple terms where any normal human being can understand. Now, this was about why we need Selenium. Now, moving on, let's understand what are the major features of Selenium. So, I think you guys have understood what exactly Selenium is and how it supports testing across different platforms, right? So, these are also considered as features, but apart from that, we'll talk about some notable information related to Selenium. So, Selenium can be considered as a leading cloud based testing platform which helps testers to record their actions and export them as a reusable script and easy to use interface. And like you already know that it supports operating systems, browsers, and different programming languages, right? Also, apart from this, it also supports parallel test execution, which reduces time and increases the efficiency of the test cases. Also, Selenium requires fewer resources as compared to other automation testing tools. You don't have to have a different plugin for each and every test cases that you are working on, right? Apart from this, we also have something called the Selenium commands, which are categorized in terms of different classes, which makes it easier to understand and implement. Also, Selenium WebDriver does not require the server installation as the test scripts interact directly with the browser. Also, so these were some notable features of Selenium. Now, moving on, let's understand the components. So we have namely four components, guys. We have something called Selenium IDE, Selenium RC, Selenium WebDriver, and Selenium Grid. Now let's understand them in detail. So talking about Selenium IDE or Integrated Development Environment is primarily a record run tool that a test case developer uses to develop Selenium test cases. Selenium IDE is a simple record and playback kind of tool which comes as an add-on for Firefox only. But now I think it is also used for a Chrome driver as well. It is used for prototype testing, and the test cases written in IDE can be exported in many programming languages like Ruby, Java, C Sharp, Python, and so on. Edit and debug options along with the record are also available in the IDE. Also, guys, this is an excellent tool for beginners to understand the syntax of Selenium WebDriver. It is also considered as the simplest framework in the Selenium suite and is the easiest to learn, guys. It is, like I mentioned, a Firefox plugin, and you can easily install it on your system. This is exactly why a Selenium IDE was used. Now, talking about Selenium RC, Selenium RC or Selenium Remote Control was the first tool of the Selenium suite. Earlier, it was known as the JavaScript executor, and 𝐻C was a tool which made Selenium famous in the market. All the credits to Selenium being a masterpiece or Selenium being very famous around the globe is because of Selenium 𝐻C. It was the first tool that provided the support for multiple programming languages. Also, this supported almost all major vendors of browsers like Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer, and so on. So the first version was called Selenium 1, followed by which we have Selenium 2, 3, and now I think we're expecting 4 as well in the market. Also, using 𝐻C, you can perform cross-browser testing. Alright, so this was about Selenium 𝐻C. Now moving ahead, let's understand what exactly is Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so talking about Selenium WebDrivers, Selenium WebDriver was the first cross-platform testing framework that could control the browser from the OS level. In contrast to IDE, Selenium WebDriver provides a programming interface to create and execute test cases. So these test cases can be written in such a way that the web elements on the web page can be identified and then perform actions on those elements. Also, Selenium WebDriver is an upgrade to 𝐻C because it is much faster, and it is faster because it makes direct calls to the browser and it does not need a server between the client and the server. 𝐻C, on the other hand, needs a 𝐻C server to interact with the web browser. So each browser has its own driver on which the application runs. So different kinds of web drivers are Firefox driver, which is popularly called as 𝐸CO driver, Chrome driver, Internet Explorer driver, HTML unit driver, Safari driver, and so on. Also, this supports programming languages like Java, C#, PHP, Perl, Ruby, .NET, and so on. Also, it supports testing across different platforms like Firefox, Chrome, and so on. Also, cross-browsing was introduced in this version. Also, guys, Selenium 𝐻C and Selenium WebDriver together was combined to make it called as Selenium 2. So like I mentioned this, I just wanted to remind you guys of it again. Now talking about Selenium Grid. So what exactly is Selenium Grid? Selenium Grid was developed by Patrick Lightbody and initially called it hosted QA, which is a part of the version 1 of Selenium. And also it was used in the combination with 𝐻C to run test cases on remote machines. In fact, with Grid, multiple test scripts can be executed at the same time on different machines. Parallel execution can be achieved easily with the help of hub node architecture, and one machine will assume the role of hub and whereas the others will be the nodes. Okay, so this is still in use, guys. Grid is used by most of the companies as well, and it works both with Selenium WebDriver and 𝐻C. However, maintaining a grid with all required browsers and operating system is a tedious task. For this, there are multiple online platforms that provide an online Selenium Grid access to run your Selenium automation script. So this is about the suite of tools or Selenium components. Now moving ahead with this session, let's take a look at a simple demo. So in order to work with the practical part of this session, the first thing you should do is check for the latest version of Java in your system. So I'm going to go to command prompt and I'm going to type Java hyphen version. I think most of my videos have this command written to check if Java is running properly in the system or not. So after this is done, I'm going to open Eclipse. So in this session, we're going to be automating a web page called Facebook. I think most of you are very familiar with it. So let's see. This is going to be a very basic demo, guys. So you can hop on to our playlist, which is put up, and you can check for demos or videos which has demos in it. Okay, I'm going to close a lot of things over here. Okay, I'm going to create a new project. Go to new Java project. And I'm going to name Selenium. All right, finish. Okay, so these are the Java libraries which has been added. And if you want to add the Selenium jar files into the system, just right click on this folder which you've created and go to build path and configure build path. So I'm going to add external library. Okay, not this. Yep. So Control A, open and go back, open and go back. And you need to add the Selenium standalone server. So I'm going to add it and close. You can see another folder which has been created over here. It has all the jar files. It has all the Selenium jar files which I added. I've already created a class, guys. This is a class that we'll be dealing with. I think this would be of good help for you. I'm setting the system property to WebDriver.Chrome.Driver. This means that I'm selecting Chrome driver as my browser driver, and I'm going to be giving my path to it as well, followed by which the extension is chromedriver.exe, that is the executable file. After this, I'm instantiating the WebDriver instance, that is driver, and I'm going to be instantiating with the new Chrome driver. So it is going to create an instance of the Chrome driver. After this, I'm going to be getting the URL of the web page which I want to work on or test. So I'll be using Facebook in this case. So driver.get specify the URL in the form of string. And after that, I'm going to be maximizing the screen. So consider using this command, which says driver.manage.windows.maximize. So this helps in maximizing the current window that you're working on. After that, I'm going to be creating a web element called day D. Okay, so you can change it if I want to change it as day 1. Okay, you have to change it over here as well. I'm going to be creating a web element. It will show an error saying all the packages are not included. So include the packages or import the packages and create a web element called day1. You can give it any other name that you want. And I'm going to be finding this element by ID. Let's go to Facebook. Yeah, over here, I'm going to be inspecting this. Okay, so you can see select class, name is given, ID is given. So I'm going to be considering ID because ID is easier to locate. So Selenium makes use of these locators which are called ID, name, class name, CSS selectors, link text, and so on. So there are close to 6 to 7 locators which are used, and also we are making use of these to locate any elements on the web page. So go back to the project and find the element by ID. You can see that the day is present. Now I'm going to be selecting 𝐿. This is the object I'm going to be creating of the select class, and I'm going to instantiate it with the day 1. After you do that, I'm going to pause this execution for 3 seconds, that is 3000 milliseconds, and followed by which I'm going to give the index value as 6. So here you can see that the value 6 is given, okay, which selects the birth day as 6. Followed by which the next one would be for month. I'm going to create a web element called month. I'm going to change it as months, and here also I'm going to change it as months. All right, so the same manner we are supposed to find the element by corresponding element locators. I'm going to be instantiating them with the new month which I give here with the new object. After that, pause the execution, and I'm going to be selecting the location by the help of this variable which is select by visible text. So the visible text for this would be, you can see that it is July or JUL will be displayed, followed by which the same follows for the year as well. So let's have a look, guys. So if we want to change any of the month, or I'm going to give this as 30, and here I'm going to say September, and the year would be 2024. So I'm going to save it and I'm going to run this. You can see that it is mentioned here the Chrome is controlled by automated test software, that is Selenium. Now it will maximize the screen, and now it checks for the birthday. First it selects 30 and then it goes to September, that is SEP. Okay, it did not happen. So let's see why it is. Okay, it says documentation error, cannot locate the element September. Okay, let's go back to our page. Okay, so I made a mistake, guys. It is SEPT. So I should be mentioning SEPT over here, and I'm going to run it again. Opens facebook.com, and it selects or searches for birthday, selects 30, and for the month it selects the September, and for the year it selects 2024. I think it's not there on the list which is present over there. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, 2024 was not visible, guys. Let's see what all are visible, and let's select accordingly. Yeah, you can see that the year option is available only till 2020. So I'm going to be selecting 1977. Okay, All right. So let's run this again. Zoomed in and now changes the date, month, and the year. All right. Okay, it's done, guys. So this is exactly how Selenium works. So this was an example or a basic example for locating elements using Selenium WebDriver. So now that you've understood each and every concept that has been discussed in this video, you can take a look at the playlist on YouTube, guys. There's a lot of things that you need to learn about Selenium. Like this was just a basic concept or a basic understanding of how Selenium works. And if you wish to learn more about Selenium, please put them across in the comment section below. We'll get back to you at the earliest. Also, with this, we come to the end of this video on what is Selenium. I hope you guys have understood everything. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Happy learning.